Why Golden Rhodes? Well, I want to leave a mark. I want to leave a legacy for my family. I want to bring generational wealth and help others create generational wealth for their future and their families. Um, I want to be a light in dark places, but I also want to allow people to see that God, the gift that God gave me, and how it's going to change my life, and maybe that it'll be an inspiration for them to help them change their lives or to get what God has for them. Um, it reminded me of the time I've been reading the Tyler Perry book about his life, and God can take and catapult anything instantly, drop of a dime. And so I know that God has a way of catapulting things and all that type of stuff, because when I read Tyler Perry's story and how he started off living in his car, and then he lived in this shabby motel, and then he just kind of lived there, and he wasn't happy, and it was terrible, and it was poor. And so he ended up doing his shows and taking all of his money from his taxes and all that kind of stuff, and he spent all of his money and his wealth trying to create these plays. And when he first put all his money into it from his taxes, 30 people showed up or whatever, something in that fact. And he was becoming discouraged. He'd do another show, and it wouldn't be anybody there as he thought it was going to be. And so he was at the point where he was getting ready to do one of his last plays, and where he played the character Joe, which was one of his first characters before Medea came out. And so he was doing his show, and he was getting ready for his show, I should say. And he was backstage, and they were putting makeup on his face, and he was getting in character. And so they were getting him in character, and he's sitting back there, and he was saying to the Lord, "I don't even know what I'm doing all this for. It ain't gonna get me anywhere. I done been putting all this money into this show, and it was one of the coldest days in Atlanta because he had uprooted from Louisiana, moved to Atlanta." And so he told his mother he's going to do in plays. He wants to bring her wealth. He wants to do all these things for his mother, and he wanted her to be able to live to see it. And so he was like, "What am I doing all this for? I don't know why I keep wasting my time, my energy to do this." And he said, "Lord, I'm just done. I give up. I'm done." And he says, "It's too cold. It was the coldest day of the year, and nobody's going to show up anyways." And he said, the Lord told him, "You stop when I tell you to stop. You're done when I say you're done." And he said, "But I don't understand." He said, "Now get up and look out the window." He said he got up out of his makeup chair and went to look out the window, and it was people lined up all over the place. He ended up selling out that night, and it created his career to be what it is today. That was the start of his career. He didn't see hope. He had no hope. He didn't know which way to go. He was about to give up. I have moments like that quite often, where I just be like, "What am I doing this for? Why, God? Why? Why do you keep giving me all these ideas, but I don't know how to get them out there?" But God has a way of catapulting your career and opening doors, like I said before, that no man can shut, and closing doors that no man can open. If Tyler Perry would have gave up on his dream and what God placed inside of him, he wouldn't be who he is today, who's a multi-billionaire. So that's my reasoning, is to create generational wealth for my family, to be a light into the world, to showcase God's voice through me, through my shows that he's gave me. And that is the reason why I want to go ahead with the Golden Rhodes Productions.